And we'd like to welcome those that have been watching High Point beating Hawaii. And here in Spartanburg, Wofford off to an early 8-5 advantage. Boyd Philpott, Craig Robinson courtside. An exciting start in a jam-packed Benjamin Johnson Arena. Turnaround is missed and the rejection inside.
Roy, last year when these two teams played, Iona dominated the boards. Here you can see that Wofford College has made that a point of emphasis. They've hit the boards as hard, if not harder, than Iona so far.
Justin Gordon checking into the game for the first time. The up and under by Cochran. And they'll swing it to Garcia. Baseline. 14 to shoot. And a steal. Casimir with the quick hands. And Iona gets it right back. So kind of a helter-skelter start so far.
But Iona likes this. They want the game to be kind of reckless. It helps them get up and down more. Wofford's got to be very careful.
Pick and roll. He's Skinner the basket. And the Wofford lead is 5.
This pace favors Iona.
The set shot from 3. How about the big fella, all 6'9", 245 pounds of him, David Lowry.
He spent all summer working on that outside shot. He said at the end of last year that he was deficient in his outside game, worked on it all summer along with his conditioning and diet, and he's almost a different player this year.
Stop and pop for Garcia, too strong. Rebound to Casimir. Outside to English, and that's what Iona can do to you.
10 made three-pointers last year they averaged. That's almost unheard of, Roy.
A high level of skill being demonstrated early on. Both of these teams picked to win their respective conferences. Iona in the MAC, Wofford in the Southern Conference. What an exciting tip marathon this has been so far. The foul call, that'll be a block. Game a season ago. They've been red hot to start this one. 3 for their last 3 from distance. And here's Cochran, another answer.
Roy, that's a great shot, but it's mighty quick for Wofford College.
Terriers lead at 13-11, under 15 to play in our first half. And here's a steal, Jalen Allen.
Coach Young thinks Jalen Allen one of the guys who made the most strides over the summer.
Shake and bake for Justin Gordon.
Along with Justin Gordon, those were the two he mentioned to me who had made the biggest progress over the summer, worked on their games both inside and out.
David Lowry, the strong penetrating drive, and the foul called. Cochran picks up his first. Iona offensively 4th in the country in scoring a season ago. And Craig, that's got to be impressive.
It's impressive given the conference they're in and where they recruit from. Coach Klus has got these guys playing at a very, very high level.
Lowry 59% from the stripe a season ago. And Barry's 2. We're tied. I'll make that a 15-13 game.
Iona's putting on a press to speed up the tempo. It sounds like a broken record, but this is how they play.
Both teams red hot behind the three-point arc to begin this morning. Garcia through the post. Gordon back to work. And a foul call as Amayo came in. That'll be his first. The 13th foul. And checking in will be Lee Skinner. One of the seniors here for the Terriers. It's an early foul trouble in the loss at Stanford. How about this for Wofford? They played a midnight game at Stanford on Friday night before playing 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. That's got to be a challenge as a coach.
They've been all over the clock, and I was talking to a couple of the players. They prefer the early game as opposed to the real late game. It reminds them of the AAU circuit.
And palming of the basketball as Amayo called for a foul on one end, turns it over on the other. So across the country for a midnight Eastern tip against the Cardinal. Back at home for their second game some 72 hours later. Not an easy thing to do.
Not easy, but these guys are young. They love playing. They were so excited. Both teams are so excited about being on ESPN2 for the game. They don't care what time it is.
Skinner double team to the post as Hines comes over. 10 to shoot. And a foul called on the block. Ryden Hines with his first. Make that his second. And Daniel Robinson checks in for the first time. Hines to the bench.
Coach Kluse likes Daniel Robinson. He's got nice size for their conference. Was out last year with a knee injury.
And in fact, this is his first action of the season. The shot clock resets. And the basket's good by Skinner. His second of the morning. And Wofford extends its lead to 4. Lowry the turnaround. Ward to Brooks. And rejected from behind by Robinson. Nicely done there.
They have a term at Wofford College when a guy's dribbling behind you called wolf. No one called wolf in that case.
Lowry again, the 3 ball this time. With a miss. Well, both of these teams doesn't feel like an early start so far. They're right in rhythm for the most part.
They sure are. And look at this crowd. I mean, this is a fantastic atmosphere to be playing any time of day, let alone at 7 in the morning.
C.J. Newman checks in as well. Approaching 11.5 minutes to play. And Newman trying to save it out of bounds.
This is almost filled.
Iona 4 of 7 from the field to begin, but no field goals made in the last 3 minutes. Four-point lead for the Terriers. Lowry. Well, he's got a variety of different moves, even outside. We've seen it so far this AM.
Yeah, very skilled for a big man.
8 to shoot for Casimir. Looking for the screen. And off the glass. Boy, he's an athlete.
He sure is. That is the longest I've ever seen an Iona Gales team take to shoot the ball.
Lead is down to 2. Tim Kluse calling out the defense as Iona goes to a zone.
This looks like their matchup zone where they try and trap and get the
turnover force. And Casimir, another strong move.
Yeah, Casimir strong to his right. Very poised for a freshman. This is a tough atmosphere, early game. He had 20 points in his debut the other night. He's hit a 3 already. Very unfreshman-like for Cedric.
And that's a little bit of a swagger to him.
Quietly confident.
He'll get the high ball screen here. Eyeing another shot. Lowry working against Gordon, the turnaround with the left hand. And the rebound comes to Spencer Collins.
That was a nice move. It just didn't go in.
And a foul called. It'll stay with the Terriers. Michigan State takes on one of the most talented rosters in Duke history. And reloaded Kansas tears down the #1 team in the nation in Kentucky. It's the Champions Classic tonight at 7 and 9 on ESPN. And watch ESPN. Plus game day coverage starts on ESPN at 6 Eastern following Utah and San Diego State.
We'll be looking for Michigan State's Denzel Valentine to take the next step. He was got a chance to be an all Big Ten player.
Casimir the miss, too strong. Lee Skinner the rebound, and here come the Terriers. Now Wofford from distance 3 of 3 so far this morning. Inside the three-point arc, just 3 of 10. An Iona-style game.
Well, Roy, I was going to say, it feels like Wofford's winning this game by a lot, and they're only up 2. That's what this kind of pace and what Iona wants.
Collins caught in no man's land. 4 to shoot, now wide open. Baseline 3. Offensive glass is Gordon and puts it back up and in. Gordon now with 4 points. A.J. English in the paint. Comes up short. Ellis and Mohammed checking in for the first time for the Gales.
Another point I'd like to make here about Iona is that they play at this frenetic pace, and their top 3 or 4 players play 35 minutes a game at that pace. You don't see that much these days.
Well, you got to be well conditioned to be able to do it. And playing in the MAC, which is not an easy conference by any stretch. You've got some workhorses out there.
Well, A.J. English was telling me that he's rarely tired in games, that practices are much harder than the games.
Outside Williams for 3. Wofford in transition. 3 on 2. And the quick hands by Casimir. Well, it looked like Swinton wanted to call a timeout momentarily.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't walk with the ball. That's amazing lower body strength there.
And Cochran now with 10 early points, a preseason MVP in the SoCon. A left-hand scoop. I have Sam Hatton, the Wofford president, a big announcement yesterday. We'll tell you more about that in a few minutes as Williams buries the first of 2. 21-16, under 8 to play in our first half. An entertaining first half at that.
I'd look for a presser after this made basket here. Looking to trap here in the corners.
Quickly ahead, the Terriers break it. Spencer Collins. And now Swinton for 3. Rebound comes down to Williams. Lowry loses it.
Lowry a little frustrated with himself there. That was a nice feed by Casimir.
Well, Craig, so far the preseason MVPs living up to the billing. 10 points for Cochran. With another deep shot is made by Collins. 7 points for David Lowry. 2 of the top players in the respective conferences.
Both of those guys need to lead their teams back to the championship games in their respective conferences.
Yeah, the MAC and the SoCon both one-bid leagues typically. So everything comes down to that tournament at the very end.
In the MAC, I think it's going to be between Iona, Manhattan, and Siena. Those 3 have a shot.
Foul call goes against Collins, his first for the Terriers. Iona's missed its last 4 field goals. And both of these teams love to shoot the 3. Wofford so far the advantage on the boards. Inside, Casimir, the and one opportunity.
That's a 5'8" guard going up in there among the trees. A great backdoor cut by Casimir, and then up strong and gets fouled. That's a big man move for a little man.
He's listed at 5'10", $155, a freshman. And he's not 5'10", coach is giving the nod right here.
I give it 5'8". Nobody lists themselves at 5'10" if they're actually 5'10".
Casimir now with 8 points after a 20-point outburst in his debut against Cleveland State, a win for the Gales.
I tell you, Wofford's playing a great game. It feels like they should be up by 12, and they're only up 3 here.
Almost seems like you're foreshadowing. I don't know that I disagree with you. Skinner back to work. The jump hook. The post player getting the job done.
They really missed him in the Stanford game. That kid's an undersized postman, but he is tough and got a lot of guts.
Now with 6 points, Williams in the paint, gets the roll.
Isaiah Williams is a player who could be a marquee player, but for the sake of the team, he subjugates his ego for the rest of the team. It's amazing.
When as a coach, you love players like that. Collins, another answer.
In this game, college basketball, it's a guard's game.
Brad Van Vliet coming up later on today in that Memphis-Wichita State matchup, one of the best in the nation as well.
Yeah, Van Vliet and Darius Carter are going to have to replace Cleanthony Early's production, who left for the NBA. They'll be fun to watch.
10 to shoot for the Gales. Lowry with the left hand.
You know, you love to see that out of a timeout, a team come in and try and get something down low, run their stuff, and get something out of their half-court set.
Lowry now with 9 points. Wofford 4 for its last 5 from the field. And with 15 to shoot, Cochran will reset the offense. Collins, the offensive foul. Grant Ellis draws the charge.
This is Isaiah let him drive the baseline. So Grant Ellis could come over and take a charge. That was a great defensive play for a team that's not known for their defense.
Under 5 minutes to play. Wofford a 3-point advantage. Gales dressed in maroon and gold. Wofford in the gold jerseys, black numbers. And a 3-pointer is good. Grant Ellis played just 2 minutes in the win against Cleveland State. A big contributor so far this morning.
But he can shoot. He can fill it up. I watched him at practice yesterday. He made just about every shot he took.
And we're tied at 27. Justin Gordon with a spinning hook shot again. And look at the emotion. The junior from Charlotte, North Carolina. This crowd feeding off of him.
This is great post position here. And again, use the use of your dribble to get you into the spot you want to get to, up strong for the and one.
Gordon's played in 56 straight games coming into this AM. Second foul against David Lowry. That's something to watch the rest of this first half.
Yeah, they can ill afford to have him on the bench at all in this game.
Really, it's back to 3.
Looks like they're trying to really force it down low now.
That's too easy for Lowry, the big fella.
David Lowry is so skilled to be able to shoot from the outside, take your man off the dribble, and then post up like that. It just makes you hard to guard. I don't care who you are or where you play.
Cochran, the stop and pop. Rebound to Ellis. And here come the Gales. English in transition. A wild shot that'll draw the foul. 3-point lead for the Gales. Shot clock off. 30 and change remaining in our first half. Craig Robinson, Roy Philpott courtside. An exciting first half nearly in the books.
I think Coach Kluse wants to go in to the half with a lead here.
Muhammad will set the offense, nearly lose it. And in fact, he did. He stepped out of bounds, a big turnover.
That's a critical mistake that you can't make in that situation. Great move by Coach Young with a quick trap there to force that. They look like Iona on that defensive possession.
5th turnover of the first half for the Gales. And now Wofford a chance to slice this lead to 1 or perhaps tie it. Garcia to Cochran. Back to Garcia, baseline. And an offensive foul. Boy, he gave him the forearm shimmy there.
Yeah, 2 guard mistakes here. I don't think he needed to push off. He had the spin. He was going to spin back the whole time. He didn't need to push off at all. Too bad for Wofford.
Third foul on Garcia. 4.5 seconds remaining. Chance for Iona.
Wofford better keep an eye on Grant Ellis, because somehow if he gets open, that's going up.
English, 1 second left. And comes up short. Iona with the opening possession and the three-point advantage. Wofford wants to slow things down in this second half, Craig. How can they do that?
Well, I think they have to do that with their offense, Roy. They're taking shots pretty quick in their half-court offense, quicker than they're used to.
Ellis short on the jump shot. And the rebound comes down to Carl Cochran, his second. David Lowry back in the game after drawing those 2 fouls. Tim Clue set him on the bench with about 4 minutes to play in the first half. Precautionary measure. I'll run the play for Cochran, the baseline three.
They're right out of half. Coach had them run through their sets and get a nice wide open shot for their best player.
Cochran 3 out of 4 from distance, and the Gales go back to work. And they'll feed the big fella, the 5th tie of this ball game. Good interior defense that time, and Lowry will be called for his 3rd foul. Well, you just can't afford to do that. That's what Tim Cluse is telling his big man right now.
That's a compounding a bad play with another bad play. Classic mistake by young folks. But you have to like the hustle.
Garcia tries to feed the post, and a foul over the back. Coach, you gotta love setting up Carl Cochran, the baseline jumper.
Yeah, nice down screen here by Skinner for a shot in the corner for Cochran. He buries it with a hand in his face.
Just underway, second half here at Benjamin Johnson Arena. And Cochran again, too strong. Out it goes to Spencer Collins. Garcia struggled in that first half with 3 fouls and no points. Collins, the fade away, count it. A silky smooth with that jumper.
And that showed a lot of patience there, because I thought he was going to take it up right in the corner and got an even better shot going into the middle.
Collins now with 9 points. Wofford back out in front. First lead since it was 30-29, and inside is A.J. English.
Lowry is he's a passer as well as a scorer, but his passing is so underrated. He sees a lot of things that most guys don't see.
Cochran looks like they're going to tend to him momentarily. We'll check on that. Walking off with a little bit of a limp, and that's not a good sign.
No, they can afford to lose that kid.
Preseason SoCon MVP. He's stuffing the stat sheet, not only points, but rebounds, steals. 55 a year ago for this Wofford bunch. Garcia baseline is short, and Lowry another rebound. Gales have numbers if they hurry. And the up and under. That's an NBA move right there for English.
Took the words right out of my mouth there, Roy. Good pump fake. Let the guy land on him and then goes up.
Well, his dad played 2 years for the Washington Bullets back in the day.
It looks like Cochran might have hit his ankle.
And now Cochran will check back in, so all appears to be all right. Maybe just something with a brace. Gales lead Wofford 45-44. Hour 14. The tip-off marathon here on ESPN2. Started last night at 7:02 Eastern. And the lead is 2.
I love the composure that the Wofford players have against this pressure.
And you're starting to see more of a deliberate approach. Certainly had to be the words echoed by Mike Young at halftime. Strong move inside. John Swin with the basket. Quickly ahead go the Gales. That's Cashmere in the block. Cedric Cashmere, freshman out of Stamford, Connecticut. A sharpshooter. Gales back up by a point.
You know, Roy, when you have a team that can score so quickly after you score, it can have a demoralizing effect on your team. So you have to be really careful about getting back on D. It's so important, especially on made baskets. You have a tendency to just relax after you score.
And the friendly bounce. So back and forth we go to open things up in this second half. Pair of teams pick to win their respective leagues, and a foul will go against Cashmere. And that'll be his second. So the foul starting to mount up for both sides.
Yeah, that was a really smart play by Swinton drawing that foul, because he saw Cashmere out of position and then created the contact, so the ref had to make the call.
Gales back in that pressing 2-3 zone, a matchup zone, if you will.
Look at that, Lowry out at top. That's got to be daunting.
Allen, count it. Jalen Allen, the sophomore from Johnson City, Tennessee.
That's the second big shot he's made tonight. And if you notice, that shot might have demoralized the Iona team. They didn't try and bring it up as quickly this time down.
7th lead change so far. And here comes the crowd. The help side defense of Justin Gordon. And Lowry doesn't get rejected too often, does he?
No, and he's just not finishing down there. He has his way down there. Look at it. He gets his dribble right to where he wants, and then the weak side help comes. That's great team defense.
8 to shoot, and here's a turnover. 7th turnover of the ball game for Iona.
Who was it again? Justin Gordon.
And this time they go inside out with the zone. Allen the miss. Over to Cedric Cashmere, freshman out of Stamford, Connecticut. A sharpshooter. Gales back up by a point.
You know, Roy, when you have a team that can score so quickly after you score, it can have a demoralizing effect on your team. So you have to be really careful about getting back on D. It's so important, especially on made baskets. You have a tendency to just relax after you score.
And the friendly bounce. So back and forth we go to open things up in this second half. Pair of teams pick to win their respective leagues, and a foul will go against Cashmere. And that'll be his second. So the foul starting to mount up for both sides.
Yeah, that was a really smart play by Swinton drawing that foul, because he saw Cashmere out of position and then created the contact, so the ref had to make the call.
Gales back in that pressing 2-3 zone, a matchup zone, if you will.
Look at that, Lowry out at top. That's got to be daunting.
Allen, count it. Jalen Allen, the sophomore from Johnson City, Tennessee.
That's the second big shot he's made tonight. And if you notice, that shot might have demoralized the Iona team. They didn't try and bring it up as quickly this time down.
7th lead change so far. And here comes the crowd. The help side defense of Justin Gordon. And Lowry doesn't get rejected too often, does he?
No, and he's just not finishing down there. He has his way down there. Look at it. He gets his dribble right to where he wants, and then the weak side help comes. That's great team defense.
8 to shoot, And here's a turnover. 7th turnover of the ball game for Iona.
Who was it again? Justin Gordon.
And this time they go inside out with the zone. Allen the miss. Over 2. Duke has scored over 100 points in each of its first 2 games this season. Predicted to win the ACC. Back to live action. The alley-oop. A.J. English. And the DNA on display.
So many alley-oops are about the catch. That was a wonderful one-handed catch that he just kind of turned over and laid in. Great athleticism. And again, a pass from Lowry.
Iona drops back into that zone defense. Pace of this one starting to slow down just a bit. C.J. Newman. No swinging around to Cochran. And gets the friendly roll. How do you like that?
Sometimes you got to be luckier.
Cochran 4 of 6 from distance. And Wofford back out in front by 2. And this is where Lowry's got to make his mark, and he does so.
Now he switched that back to the left hand as soon as he felt the contact on the right side. That's a man's move there.
Lowry with 13, the preseason MAC Player of the Year. Swinton, and that one's going to be pinned by Isaiah Williams. No reset on the shot clock. How about that defense?
That was a great block.
And the 3 ball is good by John Swinton. And he's starting to heat up with 5 points.
If you see, Roy, when they run through their offense, I don't think Iona wants to guard for 35 seconds.
Kashmir forces one. Side of the backboard. 2-on-1. Swinton. Rejected by English.
Another good block.
Isaiah Williams, an open look. Well, the action this morning, back and forth.
Boy, you wouldn't be able to tell this is a morning game, would you?
C.J. Newman, the left-handed hook, and he'll draw the foul. A.J. English, a red-hot start, the alley-oop.
Here's another look at that catch.
Well, the members bounce for Cochran.
Yeah, that's and the left going to the left hand with Lowry. Just a fantastic bit of action here.
Wofford looking to extend its 3-point advantage. Newman at 50% from the stripe a year ago. And mass substitutions coming in. Garcia, Spencer Collins, and also Justin Gordon back in the contest. And this is where Wofford could have the advantage in the second half with their depth.
Their depth, along with the fact that now they're starting to play their game on the offensive end. They're making Iona have to guard them for long periods of time. Iona's going to continue to get the ball up quickly.
Here's Kevin Amaya. He'll run the motion offense. English looking to create. And the stupid score. You got to think about the kind of damage he can do in the MAC this year. He's going to be unstoppable.
And he's scoring points in bunches.
Under 13 to play. Tip-off marathon. Gordon the turnaround.
That's a hard shot. One-handed. The back to the basket turnaround.
Gordon now in double figures with 11. Amayo sizing it up. And here goes Lowry. And he'll get the roll. Well, English had scored 8 of their last 12 until Lowry's basket. Pick your poison for Iona.
Yeah, and I think Lowry's getting used to his new body because he's not as heavy as he was before. So finishing around the basket's a little easier, so those shots look a little stronger than normal.
2-point lead for the Terriers. And a travel called against Spencer Collins. 7 turnovers now for the Terriers.
Good move. Spencer just lost his footing there. That was a good, strong move to the basket, but they have to run through their stuff.
Mike Young, 2-time Coach of the Year in the Southern Conference. 26 seasons here at Wofford. 13 as a head coach. English too strong. And Cochran's been quiet until that basket. Carl Cochran. The lead is 4. Cochran with 20. And Lowry call, make that a Mayo for the all. Heavy smiling after this performance so far this morning. Wofford continues to blister the net, shooting 58%. Iona, no slouch themselves, at 53. And a 4-point lead for the Terriers. Near turnover. 15 to shoot. Gordon against Lowry, and there's a steal. Isaiah Williams.
Tried to get just a little too cute there. I would have loved to see Justin take that one right up.
Lowry, a quick shot there for Iona.
They don't mind taking it. This is how they play. They feel like there's plenty of time left in this game. Tempo's in their favor. So Lowry's comfortable taking that shot.
And a foul as Collins tried to get to the rim. Mayo picks up his third. And Thursday on ESPN2, it's the 2K Classic semifinals. First at 7, Texas takes on Iowa. Then at 9, Syracuse faces California. The winners will face off for the 2K Classic Championship. That's Friday at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN2. And the crafty play inside, rejected by Williams. Back-to-back plays on the defensive end by Isaiah Williams. No whistle. English rejected. Iona maintains possession. And Amayo is short. Approaching 10 minutes to play in hour number 14 of the 2014 Tip-Off Marathon. Seen a couple of upsets so far. Florida went down at home to Miami. On women's side, UConn had a 40-game winning streak. Like that 47-game winning streak snap. What will we see here with two teams picked to win the respective leagues? 3 to shoot. Collins gets it off. And a putback, Justin Gordon. Oh my. Lowry the answer to big basket.
We talked about second chance points being in Iona's favor last time they met. It's completely flip-flopped in this game. That was a great putback by Justin Gordon.
Here come the Gales. Boy, this crowd got quite in a hurry. Lowry thought about it. The no-look dish. And Williams misses a chippy.
And he couldn't decide whether he was going to go up and dunk that, go up and draw a foul, or just lay it up. And whenever you have that kind of indecision, it doesn't bode well.
Garcia, the handoff, and this shot by Spencer Collins. Putback is up and in by Skinner.
Another second chance points for the Terriers.
Good call, Coach. 64-58. Terriers a 6-point lead. And it's got a postseason feel here in Spartanburg.
Kelvin Amayo has only taken one shot, and he was reluctant to take that. Last year was 19-4 the other way. It looks like Coach Young made this a point of emphasis. I know he wanted to make sure his guys hit the boards, but this is spectacular.
Cochran, back iron, rebound pulled down by Amaya. Kashmir. Well, he's trying to find Grant Ellis out there on the baseline, and it was picked off. Here come the Terriers against Lee Skinner.
It's so important against a team like Iona to get back on D. That was great hustle by Cochran to get back there and help out.
The lead is 8, the largest of the ball game for the Terriers. And now he will head to the stripe to shoot 2 player in the American this year for the Mustangs. And the free throw strained by Lowry. A little bit of a danger zone perhaps here for the Gales. They're explosive offensively, but trailing by 7. They need a couple of stops.
And stops isn't their forte. So they're going to try and outscore these guys. And you're right. Could be trouble.
Iona 7 of 15 from behind the 3-point arc. Yet to make one here in the second half, however. Here come the Terriers. Outside Jalen Allen. Silky smooth for Jalen Allen, the sophomore.
We got to start calling him Mr. Big Shot. Every time they need a bucket, he comes up big.
And the lead is ballooned to 10. Here's a steal. Carl Cochran rejected at the rim. That's Isaiah Williams.
Ooh, that might have been goaltending.
Lowry's asking for the basket. He's not going to get it. An 11-3 run by the Terriers. Lowry will shoot a pair.
They come right back at it. Lowry goes up. There's the foul. The ball hits the backboard. It hit the backboard first. That means it should have been a goaltend.
It should have been. A veteran officiating crew led by Sean Cassidy. And Lowry misses another free throw. 18 points for the big man. Lead is cut to 9.
This is, in this situation for Wofford, a 9-point lead should be like a 15-point lead. Run through your offense the whole shot clock. Make them guard you. Make them foul you. Get to the line. Make your foul shots.
6.5 to play. Allen once again. Jalen Allen. Red hot from distance.
That was one of those shots where Coach Young was like, wait, bring it out, bring it out. Nice shot.
Gales need a basket. And a foul called against Cochran. That'll be his third. Well, the marathon continues when we're done here in Spartanburg. Coming up next, Iowa, make that Northern Iowa versus Stephen F. Austin. Over in Nacogdoches, Texas.
Missouri Valley versus the Southland Conference.
And Isaiah Williams crashes. But draws the foul. We think about all the big games coming up later today as well, the marathon. Mentioned Duke and Michigan State. Wichita State in action against Memphis. If you're a hoops junkie, you're in the right place today.
Yeah.
Cochran heads to the bench. Wofford in control for the moment. Outside, here's Ellis. Lowry on the offensive glass. And up and under, and they're drawing the foul once again. Well, Lowry's got no problems getting to the strike so far this morning, Craig.
And this might be a good strategy for Wofford. Foul him. He makes one of two, and you come down and hit a three.
Iona now in the bonus after the 17 foul against the Terriers. And the first one's off. Well, there's more NBA action Wednesday on ESPN. Spurs Cavs at 7. Lakers Rockets at 9:30. David Blatt, the new head coach of the Cavaliers. And Craig, you know all about him. You played with him.
Yeah, played with him 2 years at Princeton. Have followed his coaching career very closely. He's the right guy to coach the Cavs, and a guy like LeBron.
A different mindset he'll bring, I think, into the association.
He likes to play with a lot of spacing, a lot of ball movement.
Garcia fouled on the attempted inbounds pass. And that'll be the first against Grant Ellis. So the game kind of grinding down a little bit as we get towards the latter stages of our second half. Got to think that favors the Terriers, especially with an 11-point lead. And Tom Kluse, make that Tim Kluse looking for answers here.
Yeah, Coach Kluse has done a great job. You know, there's a little tidbit about Coach Kluse that most people don't know, that he's never been an assistant coach. He's been a head coach for his entire career, starting with a freshman team in high school all the way to the seat he's sitting in at Iona. I don't think that's ever happened.
That coach of the year a season ago, won the regular season championship, lost in the tournament. Lead is 13. First points of the morning for Eric Garcia. Cashmere's been quiet. And Lowry again. We've got a Mayo. Well, Mayo's got the potential, the athleticism, the aggressiveness. He's been quiet, however, so far.
You know, I think he jammed his toe in the game against Stanford, and it's been hobbling. He's been hobbled by it because he's not as aggressive as he normally is.
Yeah, Mayo bangs home the first one. Transfer from Marshall, sat out last season.
And he's also not played basketball in a couple of years. I mean, with the transfer and injuries and just getting his basketball legs under him again.
Lead is back to 11, approaching 5 minutes to play. Inside. Basket is missed. Wofford shooting a pair of free throws. Cameron Jackson checking into the ball game for the first time.
Now this is the time of the game where Wofford could make Iona's pressure work against them.
Impressive second half for the Terriers so far, Craig. We wondered who would be able to impose their will upon who. First half it was the Gales. Second half it's been the Terriers.
And Coach Young said if this game got into the 70s, he would be worried about it. He didn't realize he'd be in the 70s and Iona would be in the 60s.
Gales have cooled off from distance. That's been one of the differences. Now he's stuck by Jackson. Talk about a spark off the bench.
Great defense.
Tackle too aggressive. There it is again.
Another second chance point. And it's a good thing because I thought that shot was too early.
The 6'8" freshman Cameron Jackson. And the Terriers starting to feel this one. Foul on Amaya.
Just what Coach Young wants. Bring the ball out, get into one of your sets, run it all the way through. They have to foul you now.
And Jackson will hear it from the Wofford faithful. A jam-packed house here at Benjamin Johnson Arena.
Can you imagine this crowd in the new Jerry Richardson Indoor Stadium?
They announced that yesterday. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes. Craig, right now, Wofford in the midst of a 23-9 run to maybe put this one away. And Garcia automatic from the strike. Again draws the foul, so it's been a Iona. David Lowry. In the meantime, Wofford's been unstoppable on the offensive end. It really doesn't matter.
The only way Wofford can let them back into the game is to foul them going to the basket. So they stop the clock, get a couple of foul shots. There's no need to foul in this situation. It's almost better to let them score. It's almost better to use Iona's game plan. Let them score, get fouled, make your foul shots.
You gotta love the enthusiasm of Cameron Jackson. He tried to sneak in there before the free throw. He can't wait.
Well, Coach Young's going offense, defense. Keep Gordon out of foul trouble.
80-64. 4:14 left. In hour 14 of the tip-off marathon.
Ball's in the right guy's hands. He went 8 or 9 games last year with no turnovers in the game. Garcia.
The strong finish at the rack. Eric Garcia. What a second half he's having. And Kashmir called for the offensive foul.
Where they're going to build it and showed me the plans. It looks like a beautiful facility.
Open air suites, always a plus. And you got to have facilities to be able to compete. Allen the miss.
I think that was a bit of a heat check for Allen. He's made every shot he's taken.
And Amayo turns it over.
Field goal shooting. 0% three-point shooting. That's pretty good.
Lead is 18. Approaching 3 minutes to play.
Coach Young exhorting his players to run through the offense, use the whole shot clock. Don't turn it over.
Well, he's fun to talk to, isn't he? I mean, he really has command of this program and this community.
Graduates all of his guys. Cares about the whole student athlete.
2 to shoot. And a shot clock violation.
Now that's okay, Roy. That's better than a turnover. You use the whole clock. No worse for the wear.
English under control of the basket. And A.J. English, not to get lost in the shuffle, Craig, 20 points this morning to match David Lowry's 20. And a foul called in the backcourt.
Smart play by Cochran not to foul him there. He was tempted to get an and one there. It was smart to let him score. No need to stop the clock. Now Eric Garcia is back on the line.
Foul goes against Muhammad. Also, Vangelis Bebas has checked into the game for the first time for the Gales. And Garcia remains perfect. Well, that's a nice luxury to have in crunch time this season for Wofford. Mr. Automatic from the stripe.
Automatic from the stripe. Doesn't turn the ball over. 5 assists, 1 turnover in this game. With a lot of pressure. I mean, give him some credit. Iona's put some pressure, and he hasn't succumbed to it.
Lowry to miss. Skinner the board. And Wofford content to milk some more clock. Reminder coming up next, Northern Iowa and Stephen F. Austin as the marathon continues.
Tell you, if you told me the score was going to be 84-66, I would have said Iona.
Wofford's showing some versatility to be able to hang with his crew.
That's what happens when you have 3 senior leaders who've been there before.
And for the Gales, they will regroup after this one. Still picked to win the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, the MAC. We'll have something to say by the time their season's all said and done. Cochran saves the errant pass, 15 to shoot.
Smart to bring it back out, Allen.
Gordon rejected by English in a late whistle. Well, Craig, one thing we've seen here this morning from Wofford, all 5 starters back from last year's team, they know where each individual player is going to be up and down the court, offense offense or defense?
You know, we do a lot of talking in the coaching world and in the analyst world about chemistry, and it's sometimes cliche, but this team, you can tell at practice, you can tell at shoot-around, they've got a lot of team chemistry. They talk a lot to each other on the defensive end. They share the ball on the offensive end. Really fun to watch Wofford play.
And, of course, Mike Young, the glue that holds his program together, 26 seasons here at Wofford. When you sit down and talk with him, you can just sense the leadership oozing. He gets this area. He understands Wofford. So now at 9 a.m. Eastern, we approach hour number 15 of the tip-off marathon. And the whistles keep on coming.
At this point, I think Coach Young is all right with that one. I think you never want to say it's in the books until it's in the book, but he's feeling pretty comfortable right now.
Well, I can say it. It's in the books. Don Swinton checks back in. Justin Gordon out. Credit to this crowd here, too, at Benjamin Johnson Arena. 7 a.m. tip. First time that's happened here on campus, and they showed up in droves and gave this team the atmosphere that it needed for the wake-up call.
Roy, I got to tell you, I'm staying in the same hotel with the Iona guys. What a great group of kids. Very mannerable, very personable. It says a lot about the coaching staff. Representing their university very well in defeat here.
Out of New Rochelle, New York. The Terriers going to even the all-time series after the loss last year. But more importantly, even the record this season at 1-1. Time winding down, under a minute to play. And Lee Skinner will draw the foul, so one more opportunity for him to amp up the box score a little bit. And coming up next, we head to Nacogdoches, Texas, Northern Iowa, and Stephen F. Austin. As the tip-off marathon continues. What a great opening weekend in college basketball as well. We saw some upsets, and Duke and North Carolina asserting themselves in the ACC and a couple of non-conference ball games. And some of the national stories. Williams inside to Robin. Found it right.
Well, it didn't work as planned against Buffalo. They still won the game, but it was a tougher game than they thought.
Yeah, trailed by 5 at halftime to the Bulls. About a half-second difference between the game clock and shot clock. Actually, 0.2 seconds. The official difference. So Wofford can basically run this one out.
Iona still working on their game plan.
And Carl Cochran sensing this one just about in the books. Late double team. And that's going to just about do it. Cochran will help dribble out the clock. And the